r/ask Reddit. What probably slightly annoyed prehistoric humans? Going to your favorite fruit tree or berry bush and finding someone else has already picked it clean. Legit. Same with a mushroom patch. Don't you dare picking on my bush. Fleas and lice were a constant back then, but I can't imagine ever really getting used to them. I was going to say small, flying, biting insects. We call them midges here in Scotland, but infernal hellspawn would be a better name. You know, I wonder if they had an idea that shaving their hair would help with the lice, like, without that hair to latch onto, it would be easier to spot, pick off. Apparently ancient Egyptian men and women often shaved so they could boil their wig instead of being forced to fight bugs in their hair. The Egyptians shaved all their hair, every damn follicle. When you wake up in the morning and you roll out of your pile of leaves and hay and your feet touch the freezing cold dark cave floor. First world problems. You'll look at this guy with leaves and hay, must be nice. Accidentally chipping a bit too hard when you're finishing up a spearhead and ruining it. When you leave Grog to watch the fire and he falls asleep and lets it go out, and you have to start it all over again. Being called a Neanderthal ducker when we all know there is nothing wrong with that actually. The amount of people who don't understand the Neanderthal baffles me. They're just people. I am in the top percentage of Neanderthal genes according to 23andMe, and as a Neanderthal I would like to say that the discrimination as Neanderthals face at the hands of the mainstream media is insane. They painted a picture of us where the word Neanderthal is basically synonymous stupid, when in reality Neanderthals were super smart. Biting the inside of their mouth while chewing. I'm sure this is still a common occurrence in rave clubs today. Rave caves. With that we're reminded, there are experiences that are just as annoying now as they were thousands of years ago. When the wind turns at the wrong moment during a hunt. Persistence hunting was a method of hunting used. They would go after the animal until it was too tired to continue running. When I first read about this, I thought they tracked an animal for 3 days before it collapsed, but then they'd have to carry it for 3 days back to camp. Then I realized they would have flushed it back toward camp and just circled it around and around till it collapsed. Then it's just a short radius length walk back to camp. You've just solved a years long riddle in my mind that I only half knew I was confused by. Thank you. All these young people growing their own food and raising animals. I heard that Boy stopped traveling altogether. Just living in one place. It's making man weak. Make Unga Bunga great again. Greece historians thought books would make society stupid because no one would have to remember anything anymore. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the primary vector for malaria, a disease which by some estimates may have killed something like half of all humans who ever lived. So they're more than a slight nuisance. But without understanding why they were getting sick and dying. You're right in that prehistoric humans probably didn't realize how annoyed they really should have been by mosquitoes. When the girl you have a crush on goes for the literal Neanderthal. Today I learned Neanderthals were ancient Chads. I'm waiting for virgin Homo sapiens vs Chad Neanderthal meme. Periods with no proper pads, tampons or painkillers available. Childbirth probably sucked. You'd be lucky if the mother survived, and incredibly lucky if the child did. Even today maternal and infant mortality rates are still quite a worry. They didn't have air conditioning, so I bet their balls got stuck to their legs constantly. I thought for a sec that you said hair conditioner and I was concerned for a moment, like, do men really use conditioner on their balls? That's my excuse when my girlfriend walks in on me. I'll condition as fast as I want. Having to eat bloated ticks off their friend who fell asleep in tall grass after having 10 too many fermented crab apples. Accidentally wiping with poison ivy. Definitely more than a slight annoyance. When you sneeze while making a negative handprint on a cave. When you come back home with a fawn you killed and your kid says Gert's daddy killed a moose yesterday. When your deer's skin is slightly too short to make a decent top. When you tried to make a swing needle out of bones and it broke. Again. When you told your father and husbands to kill a moose and they killed a mammoth while you don't have time to cut all of it in the day or the place to stock it, and they are proud of them. When your new neighbors went picking wild plants and they even took the young sprouts, or when they start cut flint before sunrise. Time travelers taking pictures or videos and taking souvenirs. All those damn stone tablets they keep finding everywhere advertising someone wants to talk to them about their extended warranties. Sand. It's so coarse, so rough, so irritating, it freaking gets everywhere too. Especially when you don't have pants. Manscaping with a sharp rock. I worked at a summer camp with a guy who would burn his pubes. It smelt awful. Why would anyone ever do that? Yep, I'd never work at a summer camp. More than a slight annoyance. What the heck did the women do when they got a yeast infection? Those are horrific without prescription diflucan. You can't even walk if you have a bad one. They probably knew some herbal remedies, or at least some general soothing plant paste. Otzi the Iceman who died in the Alps 5,000 years ago carried herbs that have a chemical effective against intestinal parasites. He had a case of worms that he was trying to treat, but he was killed by an arrow in the back first, so we'll never find out if it was going to work for him. The medicine found on him was also found in his intestines, so there is a good chance it did. Not to mention he possibly had Lyme disease, arthritis, tooth decay, and was lactose intolerant, to name a few things wrong with him. There was a good chance he was living with some type of pain before he died, and thus knew of herbal remedies to relieve said pain. And that is without going into the tattoos he had across the affected joints, which seem to be a more alternative method of healing. Those bloody beaker kids and their fancy bronze they keep going on about. They should try hunting and gathering for a change. That's real work, lad. Asking your husband to fetch berries for once because you're pregnant and waking up the next day with twice the morning sickness because he didn't know the bad ones. Bugs, like flies, gnats, mosquitoes. No bug spray, no window screens, no deterrent. I'm thinking about my girlfriend whose legs are constantly covered in bites after like an hour outside with bug spray on. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.